Hey, it's Friday night. I have never done a live on a Friday night, so I don't know how many people come on YouTube on Friday nights. But hello, good evening, Boston. Well, thank you, Maria. I know my content's a little different. I'm not like a bro like the big bros, the tech guys with millions of followers. But I feel like everybody does that, and I only know how to be myself. I'm just an independent, not a Democrat, not a Republican. I think that the system itself is broken. And this is my way of hopefully trying to fix the system to benefit all of society. I hope. Yeah, SoCal. Haha. My wife went down to. She was at college in Southern California. That big pyramid. I made a video on TikTok today. We have think about where we are as a society here. We have a rapist president who caused an insurrection, who's a convicted felon, who's a white supremacist. Right? 77 million Americans said, "I don't care about morality and decency at all," right? All I care is that he promised to get rid of brown people. And that guy flies to Alaska and then meets a man who's murdering innocent men, women, and children in Ukraine, Vladimir Putin, who is invading our ally. And these two morally bankrupt monsters are on a red carpet, shaking hands, having beers together, sharing an Uber, laughing, yucking it up. I just thought of John McCain. I voted for John McCain. He was a decent man. I can't even imagine what John McCain would think of what happened today. Our society just seems to get more numb and numb to this cruelty, this immorality, this lack of decency, and it's sad. It's really sad. Ukraine are our allies in NATO. We made an agreement with them in the 80s or the 90s that we would defend them if they gave up their nuclear weapons. And now we're siding with Vladimir Putin. It's disgusting. It's truly gross. And his trailer park trash, white supremacist based, love it. They just want to own the libs. It's really sad. They don't care about anybody but themselves other than winning. Like politics is a team sport. They don't care if the whole country falls apart, if we all go bankrupt, if we all lose our jobs, as long as they don't lose their guns, because that makes them a real man. That's a shame. They don't understand what's going to happen to the US dollar, what's going to happen to our economy, what's going to happen to our view on the world stage. It's truly, 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 it's just heartbreaking how ignorant and selfish a lot of these people are. And I don't think anybody here expects perfection. I'm not perfect. I screw up 10 times before I roll out of bed. But John McCain was a decent person. Obama was a decent person. Hell, Mitt Romney, I didn't vote for him. He was a decent person. But Jesus, people, how do we go from that to this? We literally have a rapist as a president. And these people go to church and praise Jesus with their F Joe Biden bumper stickers and their Joe and the Ho t-shirts on Sunday. Think about that. Let that sit in. To praise Jesus, to love thy neighbor as thyself with an F Joe Biden bumper sticker. You know how sick you have to be to think that that's okay? It's depraved. That's why he left the Republican Party a month after he got elected. Yeah, there's no morality. And I'm not saying the Democrats are perfect. God knows they're not. I just made a video about their lack of leadership and their lack of backbone. There's no I don't understand why the Democrats, maybe you guys can tell me why the Democrats have no backbone. I don't understand it. I truly, truly, truly would love to understand it. I don't. And why do people still defend them on the far left, the blue MAGA? I just don't get it. I really, really would love to understand. Does anybody really believe that the Democrats are the lesser of two evils? Is that really where we still are today? Yeah, JM, I care. I kind of wish I was like in Hakeem Jeffries' seat, because I would kick everyone in the ass and tell them to do their damn job. You know what the Democrats should be right now? I'll tell you where every Democrat should be. I don't care that the Speaker of the House is the Speaker of the House. They don't have to listen to him. They choose to listen to him. They should be in D.C. right now. All of them. All of them. Protesting, sleeping in tents if they have to, taking pictures and videoing what they're doing to the homeless people out there. Those are not bad people. Many of them have drug problems. Many of them come from abusive relationships and they had to leave. They fell on hard times. Some of it was the economy. It's gross that we just assume because someone's homeless that they're a bad person. And it's the same thing with the situation with immigration, because it was never about immigration. These people have been here for 30 and 40 years, never been convicted of a felony, always pay their taxes on time, bought a house, bought a truck, raised their kids. A lot of them started a business. But we're going to send in guys with masks and unmarked cars and strong arm them and zip tie them and their families while we have a rapist as the president? But we give a damn about law and order, right? We just want them here legally. Is that why the judges are dismissing their cases, knowing that they're going to get a visa? So they purposefully have to go out of the court and get arrested by ICE? Because they don't really care. They don't give a damn about law and order. They just want white supremacy. Yeah, the privatization of prisons is a whole other conversation. It's gross. I mean, the U.S. leads the world in what, 3 categories? Gun violence, because we love guns so much. School shootings is a cost of doing business for these trailer park trash white supremacists, right? Yeah, America, I got guns. Yeehaw! I don't give a shit about the kids in schools or movie theaters or concerts. Yeehaw! I got my guns. Freedom, freedom, freedom. They don't give a damn about life. They're selfish. They don't give a damn about anybody but their damn selves and their fucking piece of metal forged by Smith & Wesson. They don't give a damn about nobody. And they sure in the hell don't care if anyone that's not whites had rights in this country. They don't care about their freedoms at all. It's a shame. How many selfish people in this country? And my dad grew up in Indiana. The problem is Congress and Senate, Republicans, GOP. But crazy, yes, I don't disagree with you. The Republicans are capitulating to him. But so are the Democrats. Again, why aren't they in D.C.? You know where I've seen them swallow the last 2 days? MSNBC. They're going to MSNBC, Jimmy Kimmel, and the late night, and CNN. I'm assuming CNN because I don't watch CNN. That's it. And they're going on the bro podcasts. Why? What is it going to do? Let's be real. What does Eric Swalwell going on every night on the news do? Hey, the world's round. The sky's blue. The world's on fire. Democracy's on the line. Thanks. Tomorrow I'll be back on to tell you that the world is round. The house is on fire. That the sky is blue. What the hell does that do? What? Get your ass to D.C. Open up Congress. I don't care. Go break open the doors of Congress and hold Congress with the minority. Just do it as the Democrats. I don't care if it's legitimate or not. Do something. Go to D.C. and protest. Sleep on the tents. Video it. Talk to the people out there. Do something, damn it. I'm so sick of these do-nothing Democrats. It's the phrase, taxation without representation? That's where we are. We have nobody standing up for us. The Democrats were supposed to be the party that counters this fascist takeover. and they're MIA. Yeah, I agree, Stump. We had people in if you guys didn't see this, I think it was 3 weeks ago. There were people in wheelchairs right when this big ugly bill was going to pass, right? In wheelchairs. They were getting zip tied and arrested in wheelchairs, causing good trouble. Then you had retired veterans that were going to the Capitol, getting into good trouble, getting arrested. What did Martin Luther King do? That man was put in solitary confinement. And they put bombs on his porch where his wife and his kids were at home. John Lewis was arrested multiple times. And there was a lady, it was in the 40s. Claudette something? Hold on. Claudette Colvin, that's who she was. Yeah, she was awesome. Because she wouldn't give up her seat on the bus. She was arrested a bunch of times. How many arrests? Hold on, now I want to see. How many arrests? She had a bunch. Oh, just that one time. But there were some other times. Yeah, at the age of 15. For refusing to give up her seat on the bus. And all I hear from the Democrats is, we're not in the majority. Claudette Colvin wasn't in the majority. Rosa Parks wasn't in the majority. Martin Luther King wasn't in the majority. Kaepernick wasn't in the majority. Harriet Tubman wasn't in the majority. John Lewis wasn't in the majority. It's bullshit. Excuse my language, but it's bullshit what the Democrats do. And if you're still making excuses, you're part of the problem. This is bullshit. Stop capitulating for the damn Democrats. They are not the lesser of two evils. Right here. The man himself, the legend. There comes a time when silence is betrayal. This is about the Democrats. They are silent and they're complicit. But they have no problems texting me, asking me for $10, $5, $20. Hey, we didn't do anything when Joe Biden was in office, but hey, put us back in because your platform is we're not Republicans. Great platform, Democrats. I don't know, Stump. I don't know what they're afraid of. I don't know if it's AIPAC money, but that's a choice. When I interviewed Eric Swalwell, he said we could only do what Hakeem Jeffries tells us because he's our leader. Well, tell him to screw off. Say, Hakeem Jeffries, you're not doing enough. I'm going to stand up and do something. That's what Gavin Newsom's doing. He's not listening to Hakeem Jeffries. He's doing what needs to be done. And that's the problem with the Democrats. They're worried about getting reelected. It seems to me that they think that their job is to be reelected. Their job is to fight for the people, not to get reelected. If you do your job for the people, if you fight for the people, they will reelect you. They don't see it that way. We're not the Republicans. Hey, Christopher. Elect a new leader. But Deborah, I think that's where in my opinion, that's where a lot of people are missing it. Let's just say, for example, you pick Hakeem Jeffries, you take him out and you put somebody else in there. Okay? Let's say you have a car with 500,000 miles on it. Has 3 flat tires, gets 2 miles to the gallon, and it leaks oil like a sieve. Okay? Does it matter who's driving the car? It doesn't, right? Because the car is broken. It's not functional. It's not usable. This system is broken. And the two-party system has convinced enough Americans that you have to constantly vote for the lesser of two evils. That is not democracy. It is not. It is control. That's why 90 million people didn't vote, because they don't think the system gives a damn about them. That voting bloc would have won anybody, that 90 million people. They don't think the system cares, so why participate? I don't blame them. Are they responsible for what's happening? Yeah. But the reality is, we still are refusing to address the flaws in the system, that it's broken. You can also argue that it's not broken, that it was designed this way, and we're just now seeing the flaws of it. that this Klan leader in the White House has finally exposed the system for as busted as it is, because he's manipulating it. I don't know if Pete Buttigieg is compromised. I don't know where that comes from. Pete Buttigieg is a very intelligent guy. Okay. He doesn't have the fight. And like what Jasmine Crockett does, what I'm trying to do, this is what we need. This is what every Democrat should have. What Newsom's doing, and I'm critical of Newsom, but what he's doing now, that's what they need to do. And they seem to be afraid of something. Maybe they're afraid of donors. I don't know, and I don't really care. That's a choice. They're choosing corporate money over doing their damn job, and that's a problem. Can ICE be charged with treason? Who's going to enforce it? Pam Bondi? Kash Patel? Dan Bingo Bongo? They're not going to listen to the rules. He just released 1,500 felons and beat police officers that are convicted felons. You think Pam Bondi's going to do anything? They're weaponizing the Department of Justice. Every branch of the government is being weaponized against its political enemies. And many media, colleges, lawyers are capitulating to them. That's how democracies die, is that people capitulate. Right, Kraft, there are no more rules. The Democrats are still playing by them, and that's the problem. That is the problem. Yeah, Deborah, I loved you, Jasmine Crockett and AOC. But the system is broken. It is. It's not working for the people. And that's what Vice President Harris said last week on, was it Kimmel? Colbert, I think. He said, why aren't you going to run? She goes, because the system's broken. She's right. The system is broken. We need a general strike / French-style revolution. But I haven't seen that enough Americans are ready to get uncomfortable. But Stump, here's the thing. Let's say that AOC and Jasmine Crockett win, okay? First of all, there's a lot of misogynist pigs in this country that will never vote for a woman. That's not a reason for them not to run. Second thing, they're still in a broken system. I'm trying to tell you guys that. Stop with picking a person. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if it's Shapiro, AOC, Jasmine Crockett. It doesn't matter. The system is broken. We have to focus on the system. Until we decide that we don't want to get out of this system, then we're choosing to stay in an abusive relationship. We're continuing to keep choosing the lesser of two evils. Now, I don't want to live in that system, but it's a democracy. You have the right to do it. But my understanding that the definition of insanity was doing the same thing and expecting a different result. If we pick somebody else that's more progressive, like an AOC or Jasmine Crockett, but you put them right back into the same system, you're going to get the same results because you're still getting money from Citizens United and from AIPAC and from corporations because they're getting tax breaks. When's the last time they raised minimum wage? 2009? Well, when's the last time they passed any kind of gun laws? Over 40,000 people die every year. They haven't even looked at guns, but they've passed hundreds of bills across this country for 12 trans people in college sports. That's ridiculous. It's culture wars. Yes, Citizens United, for those of you who don't know, is this. In 2010, now I don't know the balance of the court at the time, if it was probably Republicans, is my guess, but I don't know the answer to that. They decided that a corporation has the same rights as a private citizen, that they have a right of free speech. Yes, a corporation that doesn't exist. I have a corporation. It's an entity. It's a piece of paper. It's a fictional character like Pete the Magic Dragon and Antifa. It's made up, okay? They're saying that that corporation has the same right to donate without limit as a citizen. Here's the problem with that. A, you can't put a corporation in jail because it doesn't exist. And B, when you have 3 people that own as much wealth as half of the country, how are you and I supposed to contribute and outspend billionaires? You never can. That's the problem. The game's rigged. They can buy presidencies. They can buy Supreme Court seats. They can buy Senate seats. That's a massive problem. Thanks for the crappy Democrats being so corrupt. They lost him and put us through this. Yeah, I put a lot of this on the Democrats. They're complicit. Their silence is complicity. Well, Kathleen, I think it's good that we're coming together. I think we spend so much time organizing. We have to be willing to be uncomfortable. We have to be willing to teachers to stop working, UPS to stop working, FedEx, truck drivers, trains, retail employees. You have to be willing to shut the entire country down. Because protesting hasn't done anything. Writing your senators hasn't done anything. Town halls hasn't done anything. Has anything changed in the last 7 months, 8 months? No, nothing. It's not working. Because the Democrats are complicit in this through their silence. Whether we like to hear it or not, it's true. I use the example of George Floyd. Who's more complicit? Derek Chauvin or the officers that stood by and watched it happen? Because those officers are the Democrats. They're watching the house burn to the ground, and their answer is, vote for us in the midterms, we'll rebuild the house. Maybe. What power are the Democrats going to have? Let's be real. Let's say they get elected, then what? All they do is slow the bleeding down. They're going to spend the next 2 years just trying to stop the bleeding and minimize the damage that he's doing. They're not going to do anything productive. Come on, let's be real. They're not going to do anything productive. Yeah, I like that, McDonald. Well, they should put caps. Like the presidency should have, great, you get $50 million and that's it. And you limit out. Same thing with the Senate seats and the congressional seats. And in my general strike petition, I even proposed that you should be able to, if we were in France, the truckers would have shut the whole country down. France knows how to do it. Ukraine knows how to do it. The Baltic states, Turkey, Hungary, they do this all the time. But Americans don't want to be uncomfortable. Kathleen, how long are we going to come together for? Let's look at Indivisible. Now they're having trainings, then more trainings, then more trainings. Great. Then what? They're talking about the midterms. We're in August, and we're going to just deal with this for the next year and a half because that's what we're saying. That's not going to work. Think of it this way. If your mom was in a concentration camp drinking out of a toilet, would you say, hey, wait until next year, Mom, the Democrats will get you out of there? If your dad was being snatched off the street by a guy in a mask, would you tell him, hey, Dad, I love you, but there's nothing I can do. Wait for the Democrats in the midterms. We're organizing. Hey, Adriana Smith, that really sucks you lost your life, but hey, wait for the Democrats in the midterms. They might do something if they get elected. Come on. I'm trying to be real here. We got to stop this. Yes, but America hasn't had a threat like this before. And the reality is we wouldn't be here if we would have dealt with white supremacy back in the day, but we didn't. We thought we had progress, but we just suppressed it. It went behind a dam. And then the Klan leader sitting in the White House opened the dam and said, take off your white hoods, put on your red hats, stop being afraid, come out of the closet. That's because we sat behind a white privilege because it didn't affect us. And even right now, while people are in camps, while this plantation owner is going to blue cities with black mayors, what are we saying? Oh, there's nothing I can do. I can't afford to stop working. It's an inconvenience for me. It's funny, Martin Luther King didn't have that excuse. Rosa Parks didn't have that excuse. But white people always come up with some bullshit reason not to do something, to stay in their privilege. I can understand what you want. Do you want a democratic government or a corrupt? Both. The whole system's corrupt. It's corrupt. Did Joe Biden overturn Citizens United? Did he pass a bill? Did the Democrats do it? Did the Democrats increase the minimum wage? When Barack Obama had the supermajority, let's go back. Did they codify Roe versus Wade? No. Why? So they can run on it. Hey, we're fighting for your rights, women. We're for bodily autonomy. Then you should have done your damn job instead of playing political games. Yeah, and Martin Luther King was a legend. But people that don't look like me have fought just to have the right to vote and sit on a bus, and they went through a hell of a lot more protesting and getting beaten by cops and going to jail just for simple rights. But we have fascism coming, and white people are like, oh, there's nothing I can do except protest every 2 months. That's a choice. That's privilege. Black people don't have that luxury. Immigrants don't have that luxury. Latinos don't have that luxury. I mean, I'm just trying to keep it 100% here. Don't say what? I don't know what you're saying, Juan. It doesn't. You still think the Democrats were the lesser of two evils? Didn't every Democrat vote for Marco Rubio? 129 of them just voted not to impeach him. Cory Booker just put through Charles Kushner, a convicted felon, guilty of witness tampering, intimidation. All 10 Democrats voted to censure Al Green, the only guy that had the backbones to speak up. Does that seem like the Democrats are the lesser of two evils? Or does it seem like they're capitulating to their donors? Let's be real, people. Yeah, I wasn't big on bailing out the banks either. Didn't like it. I know why they did it. I don't like it. They're the ones that are screwing us with high interest rates and they're taking over the houses. There were rumors that there are frog team. I don't know what that is, Ken. I'm sorry. I'm not familiar with what that is. Juan, I don't know what you're trying to say out there. I'm sorry. Something about 23 years. I don't know what you're saying. I'm sorry. But both political parties are two sides of the same coin. We keep getting told that they're the lesser of two evils. Watch my interview with Eric Swalwell. Watch what he says. We should have raised minimum wage. Oh, yeah, I don't know, Kim. I don't know about that. I'm sorry. He said we should have raised minimum wage. We should have put term limits on the Supreme Court. And there was 2 or 3 other things that he said. Well, then why didn't you do it, Eric Swalwell? Why didn't the Democrats do it? And that's the problem. They don't fix a problem so they can run on it when the next election comes. We're not the Republicans. Vote for us. We're not going to fix it, but we're going to tell you you will. But if you don't vote for us, you're going to get the Republicans, and they're definitely going to take your rights away. They're not the lesser of two evils. We have to stop saying that. It's a lie. It's like getting married, right? And saying, well, yeah, he's a good guy. He's not my first choice or my second choice or my third choice, but you know what? He's better than Bob, so I'm going to marry him. That's exactly what we have to do every election cycle. Is that really what we want? Every election is the lesser of two evils? They're all bought and paid for. They're all getting AIPAC money. Why do you think that the Democrats aren't denouncing what's happening in Gaza? Because of AIPAC. That's why. It's money. It's very simple. Israel has the right to defend themselves, yes. But what they're doing is ethnic cleansing in Gaza. You don't bomb a hospital full of hundreds of people with women, children, and men who are innocent and say, oh, there was one member of Hamas at the bottom of the hospital. That's not defending yourself. That's a bunch of crap. And I don't know why this is so hard. I don't want innocent Israelis to die, and I don't want innocent Palestinians to die. Why is this so hard? I don't know why this is so complicated. It's just not. I don't want any innocent life to die, period. Just like I don't want kids shot in schools or movie theaters or shopping malls or concerts or places of work. I don't want anyone's life to go away. I don't know why this is so complicated. And we shouldn't have provided Israel with those weapons without stipulations to say you will not use these against Gaza, period. That's what we should have said. And that's on Biden. He should have done a better job. I did not like the way he handled that. And that's the difference, in my opinion, between people with critical thinking and Republicans, is that Republicans are in a cult and they refuse to question anything that their daddy tells them. It's all fake. It's all rigged. None of it's real. It's a joke. It's just, it's straight up brainwashing. Juan, what about Trump? Revolution. How's that for uncomfortable? Yeah, but geek enough people aren't willing to be uncomfortable. What are people willing to do? You guys tell me, what are you willing to do to stop fascism? Because I can tell you what's not going to work is what we're doing now. Protesting on a Saturday every 2 months, writing letters, voicemails, calling your representatives. That's not going to cut it. It's not. Would you be willing to leave your job and protest for 3 or 4 weeks for 3 or 4 weeks? Would you be willing to do that? And then ask yourself, what if your mom was in a concentration camp? Would you give the same answer? If your dad was in a concentration camp? If your daughter was in a concentration camp? If the answer is, hell yeah, I would, then the answer should be the same if your family member's not. Because if we're going to be a society that gives a damn about each other, then we have to act as if that is us, that we're being personally affected. And that's why we're here, because it hasn't affected us. I didn't lose my job. I haven't lost my 401k. My salary hasn't gone down. Me. My mom wasn't Adriana Smith. My aunt wasn't Jean Carroll. My dad wasn't Officer Sitnick, so I don't give a damn. That's why we're here. It's the lack of empathy. Me. Go look at a beehive. What do? At the very thought of a threat coming to the hive, every single bee comes to the rescue of the queen and the hive. They say, screw ourselves, our own little honeycombs. We're all going after this threat together as one. But that's not what Americans do. We stay in our little honeycombs. I'm going to wait till he comes here. I'm going to let him go through all the other bees. No, it's okay. Go ahead. We would fight together. We'd be fine, but we're not willing to be uncomfortable. We're not willing to sacrifice. That's a choice, people. It's a choice. We choose to let fascism come here. What's that famous quote? First they came for the union workers, but I wasn't a union worker, so I didn't do anything. Then they came for the socialists, but I wasn't a socialist, so I didn't do anything. Then they came for the Jews, and I wasn't a Jew, so I didn't do anything. And then they came for me, and there was no one left to fight for me. And that's what we're saying. Sorry, you're in a union. Sorry, you're a socialist. I can't. Sorry, it sucks. I'm sorry you're in a concentration camp drinking out of a toilet, but I can't leave my job. I don't want to be uncomfortable. It's a choice. And too many politicians coddle people in this country. Wait to the midterms. That's coddling. Martin Luther King said that a true leader is not a searcher of consensus. They are a molder of consensus. What Democrats should do is tell you what I'm telling you, but they won't, because they want to coddle you and tell you what you want to hear, so you'll give them $10 to reelect them so they don't do shit again. That's keeping it 100. It's all about money and power. They should tell you to shut it down, but they won't. That's what Eric Swalwell told me himself. Go watch my interview on YouTube. Well, if a general strike will get more people to vote and will help the Democrats win the midterms, we would consider it. I'm dead serious. That's what the man said. Bees are more of a... Yes, you're right, Brian. They are. We're isolated. And it's not just that. 77 million people voted for a man who rapes women and molested 13-year-old Katie Johnson on Epstein Island, probably other little girls. Caused an insurrection. Raised the debt by $8 trillion. Now it's up to $37 trillion. We're about to be his 7th bankruptcy. But because it wasn't them, they don't care. That's why we're here. The remaining Latinos need to black out, no work, no spending, no nothing, and we need to join them. I'd be all open for it. But you go ahead and find me 10% of the white population that are willing to be uncomfortable, because I haven't been able to find it yet. My petition for a general strike has been up for 5 months, and I have 4,500 signatures. Think about that. I have 32,000 followers on here and 111,000 on TikTok. 4,000 signatures. People aren't willing to be uncomfortable. Oh, okay. I'll take a look at it later, Eli. Yeah, Mike, you're not wrong. But there's not enough Americans that are willing to do what's necessary. I can't change that. What I think is going to happen is that a lot of people are going to have to lose their jobs. The US dollar is going to have to go down. We're going to lose trade partners. People are going to end up homeless. I don't want that to happen. But I think Americans need to feel the pain. And that's what you're going to see a lot now from the white supremacist MAGA supporters. Oh, I didn't vote for this. Yeah, you did. You voted for rape. You voted for felonies. You voted for insurrection. You voted for immorality. You voted for tax fraud. You voted for bleeding out of their whatever. You voted for him that molests 13-year-old Katie Johnson. You voted for all of it. But you didn't think that it would come to your front door. That's what they voted for. They thought it was going to be the brown people, the immigrants, the Muslims, the Latinos, all the brown people. I don't know, Eli. I talk about white supremacy all the time. And I'm going to keep doing it. I don't care if I have one view of my videos. This is all white supremacy. It's not about the economy. It's not about tariffs. It's not about the price of eggs. This country didn't want a black woman, so they voted for a dumbass, uneducated, bumbling idiot, morally bankrupt piece of crap plantation owner. That's what we did as a country. And it's gross. How many people said, I didn't like her laugh? They're racist. They're sexist pigs. It's misogyny. 249 years into this experiment, half of our country are women. Half. And we haven't had a woman president? Really? Really? What is it then? Women are too emotional? Sure, let's talk about that. In the last 5 years, there's 250,000 deaths from gun violence. 93% of gun violence in this country are white men, U.S. citizens, between the ages of 17 and 25. But women are too emotional. The majority of people on January 6th were U.S. citizen, white men. Women are too emotional. The president is a rapist and a felon. Women are just too emotional. Yeah, sure. Look at the Catholic Church. Look at the Baptist Church. Look at all of the atrocities to women and young boys that have happened throughout the course of history. Old white men. But yeah, women are too emotional. Sure. That's a bunch of crap. It's a bunch of crap. Almost every atrocity throughout the course of human history has been a dumbass man. Let's just keep it 100, people. You think we would be here if Harris was in charge? Not even a chance in hell. Yep. That's what this country was designed for. And MAGA doesn't want to talk about it. They want to talk about the Second Amendment because it's their Bible. But they will never, ever talk about the 3/5 clause. This country isn't broken. It was designed to benefit 21-year-old land-owning white men. That is a fact. That's not even an opinion on any sphere. It was designed to benefit rich white men. That's it. Even in 1860, the Supreme Court, I think his name was Ton, he even said 100 years after the Constitution was written that black people weren't citizens of this country. 100 years into it. Modern day golfers. Yes, that's not no lies detected there. Yeah. The Confederacy never got any downside for it. Look right now. They took down the bust of Martin Luther King in the White House. They took away the history of Harriet Tubman for a while until people made a stink. They're putting up Confederate statues. They're losers. They want to celebrate losers because they're white. They put another loser in the White House because he's white. Because Vice President Harris was a black woman and she was smart and she spoke complete sentences. They wanted a dumb white guy that's a bumbling idiot, talks about Antifa and electric sharks and how windmills cause cancer and cheats on his wives and rapes women. But hey, at least he's white. He's going to get rid of the brown people. Yeah, America. Yeehaw. It's crap. And I hear no media talking about it. We're still ignoring the issue. And if I have to be the only white guy saying it, then damn it, that's what it's going to be. Because until we address that, none of this matters. Democrat, Republican, none of it matters. They're all afraid to talk about it. For why? I don't know. But the clips I see from CNN, the black women and black men on there that talk about it, talking to Scott Jennings, that white supremacist, they all call him out on it all the time about his whiteness. They never want to talk about it. Never want to talk about it. I will. Daddy spanked Trump in front of the whole. Yeah, Putin embarrassed him. Trump is a coward. He is a coward. There was a story I read from a book. I got to find the name of the book. But he was golfing on a golf course. This was before he was pretend president. He got into an altercation and he got punched in the face and got knocked down. He sat on the ground and looked at the guy, got up, put his tail between his legs and walked away. That's who Donald is. He's a coward. He doesn't love himself. He doesn't love his kids. He doesn't love his grandkids. He doesn't love his wife. He doesn't love anything because he doesn't know how to love or have empathy. People that are narcissists are sad, lonely, insecure little boys who never grow up. That's why you see the MAGA men at these rallies, right? They have military boots, camo fatigue. They got veins bulging. They're spitting out of their mouth. They're angry all the time. They have no basic human control. That's who they are. And he's tapped into their ignorance and their white supremacy. And he told them that your version of a traditional family value is going away. What does that mean? What's a traditional family value? It means white America to them. The iconic picture of a white kid with a white cop in a white ice cream shop with a white ice cream server. And anything outside of that, it triggers them. That's it. Now you see them walking around town. Are you a citizen? What the hell kind of question is that? I shouldn't even be here. This is Native Americans' land. Hawaii wasn't even our land. It's my understanding in the U.S., plantation owners got reparations, enslaved people, not so much. I wouldn't be surprised. There's a book that I want to read that actually goes on that note a little bit, but not quite. that there was reason to understand that the Second Amendment was actually written not for a tyrannical government, because if there was a tyrannical government, where are all the Second Amendment nuts right now? If this isn't a tyrannical government, I don't know what is. It was never about that. It was written for the plantation owners to have firearms to not allow the slaves in the Carolinas to go free. I'll make a video about that, but I want to read the book first to get more information. I could see that being the case. They just don't care. It was written with muskets. It took a minute to reload. They don't want to look at well-regulated. God forbid we put somebody through a 2-hour training course. Oh my God, the infringement on my freedoms. It's just too much. It's gross. Pro-life party. Yeah, sure. Yeah, I don't know about the reparations, to be honest with you, my friend. That is something I don't know about. Yes, what's happening in Gaza is, I would say it's ethnic cleansing. I don't see how you can see it as anything less. I don't. And I don't understand why every person that has a soul can't just say that. What's happening is unforgivable. And I'm a person of faith. I don't care what the Bible says about Israel. There's no way that God or Jesus would approve of what Israel is doing to the people in that country. You don't starve kids in that country and bomb hospitals to find one member of Hamas. That's a bunch of crap. It is absolute crap. Yeah, there shouldn't be billionaires. And I say the same thing for J.B. Pritzker. I like J.B. Pritzker. But just because he's on the blue team, people will say, oh, yeah, but he's on our side. No. It doesn't work that way. You either say there shouldn't be billionaires in politics, or say, oh, well, it's okay to be a billionaire as long as you have my team's colors. You can't have it both ways. It doesn't work that way. Do you think it's fair if let's say I ran for president, you think it's fair that J.B. Pritzker can outspend me $8 billion to 1? I would never even have a chance. He would flood the airwaves with propaganda. Who's my favorite president? I don't know if I don't know if I'm well versed to say that. My favorite president was Barack Obama. I don't agree with everything he did. He should have codified Roe versus Wade, but I don't expect perfection from a president. He was a decent man. He was empathetic. He broke barriers being the first black president. He is an incredible speaker. Michelle Obama is probably the best speaker I've ever heard in my life. She is an absolute queen. I don't agree with everything he did, but he did a damn good job. He gave people universal health care. He fixed the economy after Dum Dum left it here. He's my favorite. Now, was he the best? I don't know how you measure that metrics. I don't know. He's my favorite president. I would be honored to meet him one day. I probably never will, but it would be an honor to meet him because he's an incredible and he's very well thought out and spoken, and he doesn't strike me as somebody that has a big ego. I love Jimmy Carter because he was a regular guy. He was a peanut farmer. And he didn't have to go around and tell people that I'm a Christian. I'm a Christian. Let me put a Bible verse in my bio. He lived it. He helped people. He built houses. He worked at homeless shelters. That's what being a person of faith is. He was a good man. That's what we need. He walked the walk. And that's what evangelicals don't, these Pharisees don't do. They throw scripture in your face and they want law and order, then they want you to be punished. And then they walk absolutely none of it. That's why I started doing social media 2 years ago, because of white Christian nationalism. I warned about this, that this was the outcome of getting that orange guy in the office. I've been saying it. He just couldn't lie. Heard him on the Hill. Yeah, that is the problem about that, Kathleen. But I also think that Mike Waltz or Tim Waltz was a lot like that. If I can get like that Tim Waltz, because he's very personable, he's relatable. He doesn't have that Rocky fight in him. If I had like that thing with the Waltz and I took that fight of like a Gavin Newsom and put them together, that's what we really need. A regular, everyday person that's going to fight. a Rocky, if you would, just an everyday regular dude or dudette, man, woman, I don't care who it is. Yeah, they did. And I think when I simplify what we need as a president, I actually simplify it like this. We need a president that needs a paycheck. When we don't have a president that needs a paycheck that's a millionaire or billionaire, that's a problem. That's too much power, too much influence. And I don't see how you can serve the American people if you don't even need a paycheck. How can you relate to the American people? That's the problem. I mean, if I ran, I got bills to pay. I got a mortgage to pay on my house. I got health insurance. We don't have that in politics. Half of Congress is worth over like $10 million. That's ridiculous. Nancy Pelosi is worth what, $241 million? The hell did she get all this money from? Because they pass laws that benefit them. McConnell was worth, I think, almost $40 million. They're all living off. Neither side has given tax breaks to the rich or tax cuts. I think they were told to tone it down after talk. Well, that's a choice. They can listen to the leader of their party. I have a problem with listening to the leader of the party because your job is not to be loyal to the leader of the Republican or Democratic Party. Your loyalty is to the people that hired you to do your job. Now, if that means you tell Hakeem Jeffries and give him the middle finger, then so be it. Say, Jeffries, great. I respect that you're the leader, but my job is to serve my people, even if you don't agree. And if you don't like it, then that's too damn bad. That's their job. But they're more worried about staying in power. They're more concerned about raising money and getting reelected while they're watching the house on fire. Can you imagine someone like Eric Swalwell saying, oh, we got to go for the midterms? That's a year and a half away. How many interviews is Swalwell going to have between now and next year? 100, 200, 300? Where's he at? Is he in D.C.? No. Where is he? He's doing interviews on O'Donnell and CNN. What does that do? None of them have offered a solution. Yeah, Carter wasn't. I don't know if I got to learn more about Carter. I'm not a historian when it comes to presidents, to be honest. I know that he was a good man. And I don't know about you, but I can take bad policy over decency and morality. I want someone that gives a damn, that cares about the people. I can take bad policy. I can accept that. Make a mistake. Say, hey, this man, this is a leader. He made a mistake and he admitted it. There's too many people in Congress and the Senate that make a mistake, and instead of just admitting it, they keep lying about it, covering it up, making excuses. Dems, independents, change of mind. Yeah, the whole system's broken. You have to reverse Citizens United. You put term limits on the Supreme Court. You raise minimum wage to $15 an hour for workers to start, and $7.50 for tipped workers, because for tipped workers, it's $2.13. You put in safe gun reform. What is that? You go through a 2-hour class. You have a 10-day waiting period. If you go to a private gun show in places like Texas, you have to go through a background check. I don't think that's too much to ask. And safe gun storage. If you keep a gun in your nightstand or under your bed and your kid uses it in a school shooting, you are felony responsible. You are charged with a felony, because with great power comes great responsibility. I don't see how that's an infringement on your rights. It's enough. Don't tell me you're pro-life, but you were not even willing to go through a safe gun storage or a background check. That's ridiculous. You're not pro-life. You're pro-gun. You can't have it both ways. Yeah, I like Jimmy Carter. They don't actually. He's a cult leader. That's all he is. He's a bubbling idiot. And I understand there's a lot of people that think that J.D. Vance is the end game. Now, maybe for the heritage, the male white patriarchy, that could be true. But here's the thing you need to understand. When it comes to cult leaders, you do not plug and play them. You do not just replace them. It does not work that way. J.D. Vance is not the Klan leader. He's a little simp. And he's just another talking point. They will not receive him the same way they do their orange daddy. It does not work that way. Ask any cult leader. You don't just replace a Jim Jones. It doesn't happen. Yeah, if we're going to have a future. Yeah, J.D. Vance. Yeah, you're right. He's like Mike Pence. Yeah, the Republican Party is literally keeping documentation away and protecting Republicans that are pedophiles. Think about that. That's where we are as a country. The party of family values, right? A Christian nation, God first. They are purposefully putting Congress into recess so they don't have to release documentation that shows that the Klan leader in the White House is a pedophile and molested small girls. How disgusting do you have to be, not just to do that as a member of Congress, but to be a citizen of this country and sit in church and think that that's somehow praising Jesus? It's deplorable. It's truly gross. And the reality is, a portion of his base won't care if he's on the list. They won't care. As long as he demonizes the non-white people, that's all they care about. They will be on the street, homeless, eating garbage, and they will still vote for Republicans to own the libs. That's just the reality of some of this base, guys. I don't like saying that. It's just true. They are going to stay in the Titanic after it hits the iceberg, after everyone's gotten off the boat, and they're going to stay in it till it hits the bottom of the ocean. They're going to drink the Kool-Aid. Some of them are never going to get off the ship. The Republicans are enabling him. At this point, I don't even blame the guy sitting in the White House, honestly, Donald. The people that are enabling him are as complicit, if not more, in my opinion. I believe that's true. They could have impeached him at any time, knowing they know that bill was an absolute dumpster fire. They knew it. They know what he's doing with the tariffs is terrible because of the Smoot-Hawley tariffs that were a precursor to the Great Depression, in my opinion. They know what he's doing with Vladimir Putin is atrocious, but they're afraid of his uneducated, angry, toxic masculinity, white supremacist base, that they're going to come after them. That's their fault. They created the monster. Now they can't put the genie back in the bottle, so they don't know what to do. Well, if you go back to the Triple K, the people that were running it were deacons and sheriffs. I'm not kidding. Deacons and sheriffs were the people that were charged at KKK. You'll go look at pictures. There is horrible pictures of black people hanging from trees, and they're outside of a church with like 50 or 100 white people in their Sunday clothes just walking around talking to each other like it's a day at the park. It's disgusting. But this was a Christian nation. Yeah, sure. They didn't vote for Trump because he's smart. They voted for him because he hates the same people they do. That's all it is. That's all it is. They just want to own the libs. They don't vote for their own best interest. They vote against the Democrats. That's what you have to understand. They grow up. They only see for a lot of majority of rural America, they grow up in white everywhere. That's all they see. So when you look at the TV and you see gay people and trans people and drag queens and black people and immigrants and Asians, it triggers them. Their version of America that they grew up knowing, white, 8,000 American flags on every car, it breaks their brains. They think that their version of America is going away. It's just the reality of it. And they keep voting against their own best interest. Oh, you don't make a lot of money. You don't have health care. You can't afford dental insurance. Blame the libs. Vote for me. And then they do nothing for them except give tax breaks to rich people because they're so uneducated, they don't care. And then they vote for them again, and they vote for them again. And they just say, oh, it's the libs. It's not me. It's the libs. It's the libs. It's the libs. Own the libs. Own the libs. And they end up having a crappy life in a trailer with no retirement, no health care, nothing, because they keep voting for Republicans. They give tax breaks to rich people. I think what's happening in D.C. is going to go to Chicago and L.A. and other blue cities, and I think it's going to get real. I do. At some point, there's going to be a breaking point to all of this. And even the Republicans that are backing their orange daddy, it's all a distraction because he's a wannabe dictator. He's not a tough guy. He knows that his uneducated, toxic masculinity base that are little boys that just want to be angry at the world, he is ginning them up to get them so he can unleash them. That's partly the reason I think he released the people on January 6th. Those people might be in the mask in the ice right now. There's a very good chance that a lot of them are. J.D. Vance is just a puppet. I mean, he is. J.D. Vance is what the Heritage Foundation wants. I don't actually think the Republican Party wanted Trump in office. But that's what his white supremacist base wanted, so they didn't want to say no. Do you think that MAGA conceptualized that Jesus Christ was a brown Arab man? MAGA would either call ice on Jesus or they would put him back up on the cross. And I made a video about this, and I got to leave in a second here, but going back to the time of Jesus, who did they choose? When Pontius Pilate gave them an opportunity to release one person a year, Jesus, who's done nothing wrong, or Barabbas. Barabbas was in jail for murder, for insurrection, for murdering Christians. This is what he was in jail for. And who did the Sanhedrin release? Barabbas. And who did the Sanhedrin vote in 24? Barabbas again. This time, he wears orange makeup and diapers. They've always chosen Barabbas. Always. It's who they've always chosen. They want some wannabe insecure alpha male who wants to burn Rome to the ground to own the libs. They don't. You think that MAGA wants Jesus? Compassion, empathy, kindness, sympathy, for understanding, grace? They don't want that. They view that as a radical left snowflake paid for by George Soros. He's a radical socialist. That's exactly how MAGA sees Jesus. When's the last time you saw a MAGA help a homeless person or feed the hungry? It's own the libs, F Joe Biden, Joe in the hoe, own the libs some more. Yeah, it's a power grab. And Christianity, and I say this as a person of faith, I don't consider myself a Christian because that's a religion, is the Bible in this country has been weaponized to maintain the white patriarchy. And they use the verse that says, a woman should submit to her husband. And a lot of women buy into it because they see it from their mom and their grandma and their aunt and their grandaunt. They don't know any better. They just don't. It's indoctrinated through the church. And when you tell people in the church at a young age, don't question God, don't question the Bible, don't question the pastor, don't question the priest, don't question the deacons. You just do it, Jimmy, or God's going to strike you down with a lightning bolt. That's where you get this law and order nonsense. But if you judge them, right, so they'll judge gay people and trans people, but you say, really, God wants you to vote for a rapist and a convicted felon? Who are you to judge? Are you God? Hey, nobody's perfect. But why did you vote for a Democrat? Oh, did you see her emails? Well, I thought nobody was perfect and you could judge people. Well, that's different. They're a liberal. That's the problem. Because the church tells you to abandon critical thinking. So it's not a big change when someone goes, oh, Jesus was sent from Trump. Yeah, I'm sure that God stood by during the Holocaust while 6 or 7 million Jews were murdered. But then this rapist gets a little boo-boo on his ear and God comes down and puts a tampon on it and duct tapes it on there. I'm sure that's exactly what God had designed. This is what these people think. They're nuts. and then they put on plastic garbage bags? Come on, man. Let's get real here. Let's grow up. It's the white victim card. Yes, it is a show. It's a show of a wannabe alpha male who's really just weak and scared little boy who was never loved by his mom and dad. I mean, think about this. This guy, when I had kids, it was one of the best days of my life. We all had kids. It was incredible, right? You go in, it's just you and your wife. You go in and you come out, there's 3 of you. It's an incredible experience. To think that this guy, while his wife is recovering after 2 weeks from giving birth to their son, he's already thinking about what's in his pants, and he's banging Stormy Daniels in Las Vegas. That's the guy that Jesus sent here, right? Yeah, sure. My ass. These people are nutty. They will believe anything because they've been indoctrinated. The Democrats are not perfect. I criticize them probably more than Republicans. They're supposed to be the opposition party, and they're MIA. They are nowhere to be found. I'm probably more disappointed in the Democrats than the Republicans at this point, because I thought they were supposed to stand for the people, stand for democracy, fight against fascism, and all I see is a bunch of capitulation and BS excuses. We're the minority. There's nothing we can do. But somehow, Mitch McConnell held up a Supreme Court seat for Barack Obama for a full year in the minority. Yeah, that's what. All right, my friends, I'm going to go watch a little bit of something on TV before I go to bed. I'm going to watch, if you guys like shows, I watch Wednesday. It's a little dark, but it's quirky. It's a really good show. It's a spinoff of the Addams Family. So thanks for coming, guys. I'm still getting used to TikTok Live, so I don't know if there's certain times, but I usually come on at 7. But real men take responsibility. Yes. I am a 49ers fan. Niners and Dubs. Warriors. Yes, you're right, Ken. Real men don't vote for rapists. And I've made videos about Joe Rogan. Yes, San Francisco Giants. My Oakland A's left me. I'm really disappointed. I grew up an A's fan my whole life, and they just left me, and I'm really bummed about what they did. All right, guys. Have a good weekend. How do we turn this off? See ya.